Hey everybody, and welcome to 0 Mile ADV, a true beginner's guide to adventure motorcycling from a true beginner's perspective. So if you haven't seen my channel before, you may be asking yourself, then why the heck are you sitting on a Triumph Bonneville bobber? Great question, because I bought another motorcycle. So yes, I still have my KTM 1290 Super Adventure S, which I've been riding a lot, and actually having ridden this and a bunch of other bikes has given me a new perspective on that bike and some other motorcycles that I want. Okay, so with that being said, I definitely have a motorcycle problem. Actually, I'm interested in a third motorcycle. I do have room in my garage, but do I need a third motorcycle? I'm not sure. However, with that being said, how did I end up with a Triumph Bonneville bobber? Well, if you saw my video about the Indian Scout bobber, you know that I loved that bike. I got to spend a couple days with it and absolutely fell in love with it. It was such a great bike around town. It was so much having a smaller bike just to go run errands on, kind of cruise around town, go grab a cup of coffee, go work from the coffee shop or whatever. And so I just love the fact of having something smaller to kind of go to the gym or whatever. When I took that bike back, they had a Triumph, but it wasn't in the shop because somebody in the shop had taken it out for the weekend. And so I got to spend about a half an hour on this bike. And within that half an hour, I immediately knew that this was kind of the better decision. At that point, I was already sold on getting another motorcycle, having spent time on the Indian and really falling in love with it. And then riding this, it had everything that the Indian had, but more. So it's got dual front brakes on the front. It's got a gas gauge, which may seem like a small thing, but really kind of a nice add-on when your bike doesn't have a gas gauge and you're just going off the mileage. And the Indian does have a gas light, but this one actually has a gas gauge, which is super cool. Dual front brakes, just kind of a little more creature comforts that the Indian didn't have at the same price point. So I rode that bike and I actually wanted to buy it. It was the standard black edition, but it was their demo bike and somebody had already put a deposit down on that bike, so I couldn't buy it. They did, however, have this one coming in, which is actually the limited edition chrome one. So I did put a deposit down on this bike until it came in, so nobody could buy it before I got it, and I was going to decide if I was going to get the Indian or potentially this Triumph. When I came in the shop and I saw that it wasn't all chrome, some of the chrome edition Triumphs have like a completely chrome tank. This one kind of has a cool mixture of the black and chrome. I immediately knew I was going to get it. Amazing bike, super cool. I have made some modifications to the bike already. I'll do a separate video on that, on all the mods that I've done. But yeah, so far, great bike around town. If you're a new motorcycle rider like me, I think I have a total between this bike and my KTM, I've got about 4,000 miles under my belt when it comes to motorcycling. I think this would be a great beginner bike. So if you're not interested in getting a big adventure bike and you're concerned about the weight of it, I really think anything in the Triumph Bonneville line, which is their heritage kind of vintage looking line, would be awesome. My wife, who's not super interested in motorcycling, actually sat on this bike and almost the lights kind of went off, like, oh, like this could be a fun motorcycle to cruise around town. And also to all the trolls out there that say you only need a 50cc bike to begin, anything over is too big. This is a 1200cc bike. I think it makes I think close to 100 horsepower and like 75 foot-pounds of torque. So there's a bunch of people, you only need like 50 cc's and like 50 horsepower for your first bike. Honestly, I think this would be a great bike. Could you get yourself in trouble? Yes, but again, back to my rules for new riders. If you can control your wrist, ride within your limits, and just ride and be safe, I think you'll be fine. It's a super cool bike to ride, would be great around town. The other cool thing about this, aside from I think the Bonneville line just being a great beginner line, so if you're interested in like the T100, T120, Speed Twin, the Bobber, and then the Speed Master, I think all would make cool kind of first bikes, and they're not terribly expensive. Okay, another note on this bike. Everywhere I go, people love it. People always want to talk to me about it. They're always honking, they're always waving. I've actually had people, as I'm going through intersections or turning, like honking and sticking their thumbs out the window like, awesome bike, dude. So this thing is just super cool. It looks great. I can't wait to kind of put my finishing touches on it to make it a little more unique. But I really, yeah, just a fantastic bike. I really love it. Got about 500 miles on it. So I'll do another video with all of my modifications I've made and kind of my final update on what I think of the bike once I kind of get it done. So with that being said, this is my new bike, the Triumph Bonneville Bobber. I love it. If you're looking for a cool vintage cruiser, definitely check one of these out. Definitely take a test ride. Hopefully you have a great dealer in your area. Quick shout out to All Terrain Motorsports here on the western slope of Colorado. No, they did not pay me to do this. They have no idea I'm doing this, but Everett over there is absolutely awesome. Any bike I've wanted to ride, he's let me take out. He really was like helping me. He even said one day, he's like, I know you like to ride badass bikes, so why don't you ride this one too, just in case. So he was really open about, you know, making sure I got to test everything rather than just selling me a bike. Even so much so of like letting me rent a bike first. So yeah, super cool, awesome guy. If you're ever on the western slope, western slope of Colorado, you're coming through, check out All Terrain Motorsports. They are awesome, really great experience over there. So with that being said, and if you made it this far, please like and subscribe to my channel. It just helps it grow. And for all of you new motorcycle riders out there, please leave me a comment below. Do you have a second motorcycle in your garage? What are your thoughts of the Triumph Bonneville Bobber? And as always, stay safe out there.